Hello, this should be my final upload of today, Friday, but this is Stargo J. If you didn't know, now you know. And this is kind of the video based on what the world word devil planned or put or why was or the purpose of why he was in Black Clover. And it's kind of like a different, like I guess you could say, just like my Austin Road video. It's kind of like what role did he kind of play into the story. So basically, what I'm gonna do is talk about his placement and why he was placed in the story as it was. And then I'm gonna kind of go from there, kind of talking about this plan. Talking about what he almost accomplished. Now I'm gonna give you like a summary of of why he was that way or why was he in place. So the placement of characters. He's supposed to be the big mastermind between the elves versus the humans, the way that they thought they were the real villain behind it all. And I feel like what he does to accomplish that is that it doesn't feel necessarily forced that he is the villain, and it makes totally sense. What a lot of people don't understand about his character is that it doesn't feel like a Kaguya type character where she was kind of just forced into a fight between the shinobi just because. The devil doesn't feel like that, and it feels like the devil was kind of always forced. Like everything was kind of foreshadowed since like the first the episode 3, since like what episode 3, where the devils, where we knew about devils and stuff like that, but a lot of people didn't pay attention to it, or they were watching White Clover. So I think what a lot of people wanted to say was that he was a Kaguya type character, which he isn't. I mean, like the placement of his thing made totally sense every time we got a hint about the elves, and the hint about the elves in the humans, or what story we're told that about each race as we go back into it. If we look at the flashbacks between the elves and stuff like that, it was obvious that something happened, and we just didn't know what until it further came into Lick's slash Patchy's position of eye and stuff like that. And I feel like his placement between this placement or role and that matter, that when we finally found out about about everything, was that it made totally sense. He fit right into that big Mad Master role, because honestly, bro, if you think about it, before we even knew anything really about the first Wizard King, I kind of figured that he wasn't the person to kind of do stuff like that, and it just made sense that like the elves weren't all bad people and they weren't the ones in the wrong. So I feel like honestly, taking Patchy and the elves out of the villain spotlight was something that wasn't forced, but it was something that was kind of necessary to make actual sense in the story, which a lot of people don't want to agree with, but it makes a lot of sense in the story. So the importance of it, the really good importance of it, is that the way he fit right in the story, it wasn't like it was a forced fit. It was something that was really just naturally fitting in there. When the devil came out, of course, a lot of us was excited. It was a good plot twist, but it was something that fit. That wasn't really just pushed in our face and say this like Kaguya was to Naruto, in Naruto, to where like we just have to accept that and get a whole backstory of somebody that just came out of nowhere. Like the devils didn't come out of nowhere. We knew there were devils since episode 3 if we were really paying attention to what Black Clover was trying to accomplish. But that's pretty much for it for kind of his placement. What was his plan? Of course, his plan was the biggest. His plan was something that, if fulfilled, would have been very dangerous if you really think about it. Because not only his plan was literally just get his hand on like a 5-leaf grimoire, but like I said, that sounds easily like, oh, he could just snatch it from Asta, but Asta already had a demon in his stored in his grimoire. So what the best necessary way was to do it was that he planned all of this for Patchy, because he knew as soon as he resurrected him, he was going if he told them all this stuff about what was going on, how he planned every single drop and detail of it, and how he even had his eyesight on Patchy. He knew that he was gonna go in the store, in the despair, which will allow him to take away which will allow him to forcibly make a 5-leaf grimoire out of Patchy's book. And what a lot of people don't understand is that plan really had a lot of miscues. It wasn't something that was perfectly planned either. I don't know if he had any backup plans, and the main reason why a lot of stuff went down, if it did, was because of Raya's misjudgment, of Raya's misjudgment. And if we really think about it, we can sit here and blame Patchy all day, but Patchy really was just a kid. He saw what he saw. Raya didn't. Raya was pretty much a grown adult that could see when people were lying. So a lot of the fault came back on him because if you really think about it, he pretty much knew that something else was at stake. A lot of the elves didn't know because they were pretty much being played or killed off before they knew what was going on, and they just saw a lot what was happening at first thought. So I mean, like honestly, his plan was literally something that's kind of sound as you can simplify, but it was something that had a lot of problems and issues with. If we're going back and looking at it in the aspect of something like Aizen, or something like Ma, like Black Zetsu. We gotta think about it. It's a plan that had a lot of miscues and stuff like that. But all right, like I said, what he almost accomplished was pretty much just world domination. I think he was also going to open up a portal to the other world for the other demons to escape or something like that, or other dimension, whatever it was specifically called in Black Clover in the Black Clover manga. So what what he almost accomplished was pretty much just world domination. And I feel like a lot of people like to say that he was a boring villain and he was trash and stuff like that without speculating that literally his plan, the risk of him even getting away after Yami, even if he was fighting those people, his magic was overpowered. And even if we look back at it like this, the risk of him getting out was something that would literally kill a lot of people. I feel like what he almost accomplished and what he did accomplish was taking out the person that probably could defeat him easily, which was Julius. Julius probably had a lot of mana where he could literally just, I wouldn't say it would have been an easy fight, but I would say give him not between that little, not between easy and middle. I feel like it's slightly in between those where Julius will actually beat him. And I feel like he took that out. And then a lot of the things is he also accomplished this Gear War that happened after he resurrected the elves, and you know he thought that Lick did it. He thought that Lick, and he also caused a lot of confusion at the fact when he actually was able to. He actually tricked them to doing a lot of things. To be honest, gathering the magic stones, turning people into elves, resurrected them into people's souls. Pretty much, he did a lot of what people don't want to give him credit for. And in a summary of this is pretty much, I feel like a lot of people like to say he's a bad antagonist, but I said that at first, but I think about it, I think it was more just how long the story dragged on in the manga, which was making it really bad. And I feel like the way the anime is doing it is gonna be totally fixed, and I think a lot more people will be I have their eyes open about the word devil, weevil, or weevil. And I feel like honestly it's just something that I feel like is really good. Is really good on Tabata's, thing, the way he was able to utilize this perfectly, a situation where the mastermind character would be perfectly fit in without being too much. But other than that, I feel like my personal feelings on the character is that somebody that I thought that was a terrible antagonist, he kind of is a good antagonist with the way he plans certain stuff out, and I feel like dialogue is what makes a character. But at the same time, I feel like when the anime will fix that, and the way that he explained how his plan worked and how much went into it, kind of made it just seem like this guy was actually really serious about everything. And I feel like that's one of the key factors into making the character interesting, and especially one of the main factors into an antagonist. But like I feel like a lot of people just sleep on it because the pacing of the art was just bad. I don't think that the devil made the art go bad. It was just more or less than we was reading it weekly instead of binge reading it at the same time. That made it seem like that way. In which we will watch the episodes, to watch the weekly episodes. Which next week's back to back good episodes. 118 and 119 is going to be really great episodes and pretty much be the end of it. But like I said, I feel like people will see his art, see his character a lot more in the anime because of the way they're going to do it. But this has been Stark OJ. If you didn't know now, and this is probably a big piece. So make sure you like and share this, comment this video. So, all right, peace. All right, peace.